If you were looking for the best gaming laptop 2024, well, you're in the right place. We've dug deep and conducted extensive research, and now we're breaking down the absolute best gaming laptop 2024. We're talking about the perfect balance between price and performance, tailored for different scenarios. If you're eager to find out which suits you best, don't go anywhere. Stick around till the end because we've got all the links for the best prices in the description below. No specific order, just the top contenders of the game. Ready to dive into the world of best gaming laptop 2024. Let's get started. Number 5, Razer Blade 15, the best 15.6-inch gaming laptop. This is the best 15.6-inch gaming laptop on the market right now, but you're going to be spending a lot to get it. If you've got the budget to play with, we'd really recommend going to the top of this spec and packing an RTX 3080 Ti GPU with an i9-12900H processor and helping it all shine with a 144Hz 4K display. Of course, there are cheaper models out there, but if we're really talking about the best of the best, this is where you should start your benchmarks. Design, you know the drill by now. This is a Razer laptop, so expect a matte black brick with nothing but a shiny green Razer logo on the lid. The Blade 15 follows these design rules to a T, shipping all those high-end components into a slimline build with nearly every detail paid due luxury attention. We say nearly every because while this is a solid chassis, we did still notice some considerable flex in the display and wobble in the hinge. Still, this is as skinny as the majority of 15.6-inch laptops go, so there's only so much that back panel can take. The hinge itself proved to be super strong in our testing, so we didn't have too many concerns. Features: opening the lid, you'll find a numpad-less keyboard with extra ventilation underneath as well as a 4K display up top. This is a particularly strong screen, especially considering it managed to keep up with more demanding games in our benchmarking. Outside of performance numbers though, the vibrancy and clarity this panel will give all your games is unparalleled and certainly makes for a far more immersive experience. Under the hood, Razer has managed to shove an RTX 3080 Ti into this chassis. At the time of review, only a handful of gaming laptops could boast this powerful GPU, and considering the i9 CPU it comes with, there's plenty of power for those who can wrangle it. Performance: I managed to run Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 74 FPS in 4K with everything turned up to 11 here. While more demanding titles still struggle in that UHD resolution, though, I was still impressed with the 60+ FPS in 1440p on Red Dead Redemption 2 as well as the 78 FPS in the same resolution on The Division 2. I only needed to drop some more taxing visual effects to hit higher frame rates in 4K, and everything looked incredible while doing so. Number 4. ASUS ROG Zephyrus G14, the best 14-inch gaming laptop. The Asus ROG Zephyrus G14 long reigned over the slimline gaming laptop world. It was one of the first easily portable machines, built with a form factor that respected your backpack and your desktop. In 2023, Asus has doubled down on its power, with RTX 40 series graphics heralding a return to Nvidia. Last year's AMD build was certainly speedy, but dropped a few fancy graphical tricks. And Intel's 13th generation processors at the helm, the latest iteration embodies that classic power/portability balance. Design: the G14 nailed its aesthetic and build a long time ago, and the 2023 iteration only improves this slick but compact design ethos. The magnesium alloy chassis keeps things feeling dense and secure, while still endlessly portable thanks to those soft rounded corners and 1.7 kilograms weight. The Animatrix LED display is still available, but we recommend avoiding it for a cheaper final price if you can. However, both models still look subtle enough to sit in a professional or gaming space. Features: while last year's venture into AMD graphics had us wanting a little more from the G14, 2023's return into Nvidia is triumphant. There's plenty of choice here as well, with configurations spanning all the way from RTX 4060 to RTX 4090. We're still getting the 1610 display introduced on the previous model, but at the top RTX 4090 tier, Asus has added its Nebula HDR Mini AD panel. While the jump from IPS in its own right, though, this screen has had its specs trimmed to slot into the Zephyrus G14's bracket. Whereas other 2023 Asus laptops are woeing with their vibrant 1100 nits of peak brightness and 1024 dimming zones, the G14 trades down to 600 nits and 504 zones. That's a noticeable sacrifice having had the other models in hand. Performance: we managed to squeeze some impressive numbers out of this compact design as well, consistently hitting well over 120 FPS in in-game benchmarks at a high setting, and holding that performance pretty well across Ultra. Those new generation components certainly aren't put to waste in this smaller chassis. Whether you're in 1080p or 1440p, everything is silky smooth. We did notice those temperatures creeping under intense workloads, though, so this will be one to keep on a desk rather than a lap. That said, not many 14-inch rigs can keep up with these specs, and even fewer can do so with the extra screen space afforded to you here. Number 3. Acer Nitro 5, the best gaming laptop under $1,000. It's not about to blow anyone away with flashy features or top-tier performance, but the Acer Nitro 5 is a very respectable choice of gaming laptop for the busy gamer who doesn't want to break the bank. Design: the Acer Nitro line has a distinct look about it. The most recent Nitro 5 doesn't stray too far. It's a plastic chassis which can collect fingerprints quickly, but feels remarkably durable in the hand. It also helps that at 2.3 kilograms, this is one of the lighter gaming laptops on the market right now. Yes, those bezels do keep the screen from looking its best, and the angled corners and harsh lines feel a little old-fashioned, but overall, this is an inoffensive design scheme for a cheaper laptop. Features: regularly available for under $1,000/£1,000. The RTX, the 3060 Nitro 5 manages to pack some impressive components into a budget price tag by dropping nice-to-have features. That makes it perfect for anyone after raw power without all the fancy extras that can sometimes bloat gaming laptop costs. A good full-scale keyboard with numpad makes this laptop appropriate for both work and play. That means it's a great replacement for a full-tower desktop PC at home that also offers portability thanks to its relatively low weight as gaming laptops go. We found the screen to be somewhat dull compared to other laptops in the same price range, and the battery life is decidedly unimpressive, but given the budget costs, these do feel like fair trade-offs. Especially since the display does retain an excellent 144Hz refresh rate. Performance: the RTX 3060 GPU paired with a Ryzen 5800H processor offered up strong performance in our testing, hitting 86 FPS in high settings on the Division 2 and only dropping 77 FPS in Ultra. While the SSD could be a bit speedier, it's not going to cause any major headaches. Most games will run above 60 FPS at maximum settings, and ray tracing is also an option, though it does come with an associated performance hit. Number 2. Alienware M15 R7. The Alienware M15 R7 brought the now mid-range line of luxury laptops up to 2022 standards last year, and while current sales hold out, it's the go-to for anyone after a performance-punching machine in 2023. With Intel's 12th generation processors and Nvidia's tied GPUs at the helm, there's some serious power up for grabs here. Design: it's worth noting that this machine is built purely for power. It's a stocky design, and a particularly heavy one at that. The charging brick alone nearly runs the full length of the keyboard. So no, this isn't going to be a gaming laptop you'll easily throw into a backpack, and those fans can certainly scream, but if you're looking for an all-rounder that can level with machines far pricier than itself, these are easy sacrifices to make. Everything is as you would expect from an Alienware laptop, from the slim bezel design on the face to the 15 watermark on the back, and of course that RGB strip running around the rear port area. The matte finish works hard to cover up a cheaper plastic chassis, but everything still feels durable, despite some considerable flex of the screen. Features: the M15 R7 certainly doesn't disappoint when it comes to connectivity. There's a massive selection of ports here, so you're covered whether you're on the USB-C or USB train, and whether you prefer Wi-Fi or Ethernet. The keyboard also manages to delight with a taller 1.8mm travel distance and a tactile feel. This is a particularly satisfying set of keys for both gameplay and typing. Up top, our test unit sported a 360Hz FHD display, which proved particularly adept at motion handling and tear reduction thanks to that incredible speed. We did notice lighter colors handling a little worse than darks, being a little washed out overall, but everything came together nicely even in bright conditions. Performance: we were blown away by the performance of this machine. Our test unit featured an i7 12700H processor and an RTX 3070 Ti graphics card, and was easily sailing through our benchmarks and stress tests. This beast didn't even flinch at heavier titles like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Metro Exodus, offering up 76 FPS in RDR2's Ultra settings and 72 FPS with all RTX set to max in Metro Exodus. Those are settings that would make the uber-expensive RTX 3080 Ti Razor Blade 15 sweat. Number 1. Asus ROG Strix Scar 16. The Asus ROG Strix Scar 16 has taken over from the Razer Blade 15, still featured below as the best gaming laptop we've had our hands on yet. This thing flies through anything you can throw at it without reaching the dizzying heights of other premium RTX 40 series rigs. That's because the Strix Scar puts its power exactly where a PC gaming enthusiast wants it, cooling, CPU efficiency, and GPU power, all while still offering a crisp set of RGB panels and a mini LED display worthy of its next-generation chassis. Design, this isn't a machine for the more subtle amongst us, though. While the RGB panel running across the lower lip can be switched off, this is still very much a gaming laptop. The translucent design across the main deck wasn't quite our favorite touch and does add to this gamer aesthetic while slightly cheapening the experience, but this is down to personal preference. The lid sports a large ROG logo and a series of etched diagonal lines along the chunky griddle towards the back, further removing this rig from your everyday office laptop. However, it's not such an in-your-face design, and putting those LEDs to sleep certainly keeps the vibe slick. Features, we've also got one of the best screens we've had the pleasure of using on a gaming laptop. Asus has branded its mini LED screens Nebula HDR, and they sing. Between 1024 dimming zones and 1100 plus nits of peak brightness, colors pop with an excellent vividity and balance well with a deep, rich contrast. Throw in Dolby Atmos and a solid virtual surround system, and you've got a seriously immersive experience. That's, of course, backed up with a high-end set of configuration options. The ROG Strix Scar 16 can move up to an i9 13980HS CPU with an RTX 4090 card. Those are specs that are sure to satisfy anyone looking for a top-shelf rig. Performance, we tested an RTX 4080 rig with the Intel i9 13980HX processor that comes with both this and the 4090 configuration, drawing a 17,611 times SPI score and 32,876 Firestrike score to beat out the Asus ROG Zephyrus M16 by some margin. The Scar 16 even beat the larger and far more expensive RTX 4090 toting Razer Blade 18 in these benchmark tests as well. Those are numbers that will comfortably see you through the next 5 years of gaming, and potentially much more if we don't see any particularly demanding graphical breakthroughs. No, frame rates weren't as impressive as the ROG Zephyrus Duo 16 listed below, but equally you're not spending an extra $1,000 on a fancy second screen, and the power to run it you might not use. Plus, at 3-figure frame rates and ultra settings across demanding titles, there's no arguing the raw horsepower baked into this machine.